The Edmonton Oilers have been very active early in free agency. Gil Martin of Locked On NHL here with Brett Holden of Locked On Oilers. And Brett, two big signings so far for the Oilers. Your thoughts? Let's start with the Evander Kane.
Evander Kane was a very nice bargain deal and a nice deal that came through at about 12 o'clock local time here that I was certainly getting ready for bed for. But yes, a great addition a re-addition for the Edmonton Oilers in Evander Kane. In his 58 games played with the Edmonton Oilers, that includes playoffs as well, 35 goals for him and 56 points, so almost a point per game for Evander Kane. I mean, that's pretty easy to do when you got skill and you're playing next to Connor McDavid. But the thing that Evander Kane brings that a lot of people or a lot of the free agents that are on the market right now wouldn't have been able to bring is that toughness, is that absolute grit that Evander Kane has. That allows Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl as well to go out there and play without worrying about whether or not the other team is going to come and take a run at them or not. In fact, those bigger guys are probably looking around 491 going, oh my goodness, if I even think about hitting Connor right now, I might get hit by a southpaw, may I add. Evander Kane's a left-handed throw and punch. It's kind of a scary thought for the other team.
No question about that. And the good thing also, some of the off ice issues did not seem to follow him to Edmonton. What do you think it was about the Oilers locker room and the culture there that sort of helped him in that regard?
Well, you hear a lot, especially recently, from a lot of guys. You heard it from Duncan Keith during his retirement that this is really a family-oriented and a very supportive organization. They really help you in a lot of ways, and you see Duncan Keith, who came to Edmonton to be closer to family. Connor McDavid was on the phone with Evander Kane when everybody was talking. Oh, is he going to go to Edmonton? Where is he going to go? And really hammered across that point of the family feel. And obviously there are the off ice things and the tumultuous things that go around him, but then you see him in the community. He was at the brick tournament with all these teams here after the Oilers were eliminated from the playoffs. He's been in Edmonton since about last week. He recently left. He's been in the city, and weirdly enough has liked the city for a little while, so it seems like he's kind of made a little bit of a home here,
which is good to hear. Goaltending obviously been an issue for the Oilers for longer than we'd care to admit, but they do something about it. Your thoughts on the Campbell acquisition?
Yeah, you know what? I've been quite vocal on being kind of straying away from Jack Campbell. I love Jack Campbell. I love him as a player and as a person. I've been adamant that I don't think where the Edmonton Oilers are, I don't think you win the Stanley Cup with Jack Campbell. Now, the Edmonton Oilers did sign him, and I have to come to the accepting nature of that. And once I got into it a little bit, I said, fine. This was a guy who, going into last season, was the Vezina betting favorite for the trophy. And it's obvious why. 17 wins the season before, 3 losses in regulation, only 2 in overtime, a 9.21 save percentage, and a 215 goals against. And then last year, he had 5 shutouts, which is almost inconceivable if you're an Edmonton Oiler fan, because shutouts don't come quite often for the Oilers. A 914 save percentage, which was around where Mike Smith sat. But we will see if the Edmonton Oilers do build kind of an exciting decor around that, or just a solid decor, because we are seeing potentially Brett Kulak out the door. I could really see Jack Campbell, because the thing is his inconsistency. That's been his knock. He has a guy like Stuart Skinner who's in the organization for a little while. Is relatable and honestly very solid for the Edmonton Oilers. If he gets inconsistent, Stuart Skinner is a pretty solid guy to let him cool his jets a little bit and get back into his game.
Where do you think the Oilers go from here? How much cap room do they have left, and what are they still looking for?
Well, the Edmonton Oilers currently have about $10 million in cap space. I think the exact number is 9.6, but they are looking at moving guys out. There are apparently guys like Tyson Barrie maybe on the way out, Warren Foegele potentially as well. We will see. That's extra space. Tyson Barrie currently sits at a $4.5 million cap hit. The Edmonton Oilers are able to move that out, whether that's for a player like maybe a Josh Anderson from Montreal, or maybe even a Connor Brown. I saw his name thrown into there potentially as well. The thing for the Oilers as well is they have a couple RFAs that they need to deal with. Ryan McLeod, who's one of my favorite players, Kyler Yamamoto as well. And the interesting thing is Jesse Puljujarvi, will he also be included in a move for Connor Brown? The other thing is, like I mentioned, Brett Kulak may be on his way out. So the Edmonton Oilers are looking for a top four defenseman, more specifically on that second pairing, a guy who can work both ways. It'll be interesting to see. There's a lot of work still for the Edmonton Oilers, but where they're currently sitting, could they be a favorite in the Pacific? I think so.
All right. Well, I know you'll have it all covered on Locked On Oilers. Brett Holden, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Gil.